democracy. All candidates debates are such an important part of that. So thank you for being here. You guys are great. I want to thank our MC for tonight, who will be Kurt Stoodley. Thank you, Kurt. All the volunteers from the Lynwood Village Community Association and the Westcliffe Estates Community Association who are presenting the debate tonight. So there will be, if you want to submit questions, there's no questions asked with a microphone. You have to write them down and give them to Casey McGowan. I believe there's sheets of paper that are being distributed. So you give them to him and he'll pass them along to Kurt Stoodley. Unfortunately, we won't be able to answer all the questions tonight because we would just be here until election day if we do that. But we could do that if you want. So unfortunately, yeah, that happened to me at the first debate at Cedar Hill. They didn't ask my question and I went home very upset. So try to get over it if that happens. Please be very respectful. I've been up here before as a candidate and it's not easy. These guys have put in a lot of time. They're not getting paid for this. They're working hard. The election has been going on for a few years now. So please be very respectful for them. No heckling, please. You can applaud at the end, but please no booing, okay? You're not going to agree with everything everyone says up here, and no one's forcing you to vote for them. So. Starting off on a good note. And I wanted to thank one person who couldn't be here tonight. That's my father-in-law, Phil Brown. Phil ran for the NDP twice before, and I was his campaign manager, and he provided me guidance on my campaign. He's my father-in-law. Did I say that already? Yes. Okay. He couldn't be here tonight. He's helping Chandra's campaign with the Liberals now. He really wanted to be here. He really believes in the importance of all candidates' debates, but unfortunately he had a brain hemorrhage last Sunday night, so he is in intensive care at the Civic Hospital. But I want to say to Phil, this is on camera, he's going to be seeing us. Tonight is for you. Thank you very much. And now I'll turn it over to our MC, Kurt Stoodley.
And by the way, oh, there goes your sign. Oh, there goes your water. First of all, a big round of applause for Tristan, who does a lot of work in this community, including being the for those of you who don't know me, I used to be in television. I hosted some morning show for some time. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, I'm now a real estate agent. First and foremost, I'm a Bellscorners resident. I live just about 30 seconds from here. So it's a pleasure to see you all here tonight. A pleasure that we don't have enough seats for everybody. That's a good sign. So I have a list of questions that were submitted by email and via Facebook earlier. As Tristan mentioned, you do have the opportunity to write up questions. We will have to vet those questions in the interest of time and their pertinence to what we're doing here tonight. But feel free to submit those questions. We'll get to as many as we possibly can. First of all, let me introduce the candidates. From the Liberal Party, Chandra, Arya. Representing the Green Party, Jean-Luc, Cooke. Running as an independent, Jesus, Cosico. From the New Democratic Party, Devine. Representing the Marxist Leninist Party is Tony Seed. And also running as an independent is Harry Splett. The Conservative candidate, Andy Wang, was invited, but the Conservative Party declined our invitation to participate. Okay, booing rule. You can boo anyone you want except me. So each candidate will have an opportunity to speak to you for 3 minutes in an opening statement. Each question will be reserved to a 1-minute response, so choose your words wisely, candidates. And then we'll have an additional time at the end for closing statements from each candidate. We're going to start going in alphabetical order. We'll reverse that order accordingly as things progress. Your first candidate to address you this evening from the Liberal Party is Chandra Arya. Chandra.
Good evening. I wish Andy Wang was present here. I want to tell Andy today that if you want the job, at least appear for the interview. I am Chandra Arya. I am running to be your Liberal Member of Parliament. I want to use my experience as a businessman and as a community activist to give Nepean a very strong voice in the Parliament. I want to demonstrate to our children and grandchildren that politics is above partisanship. It is about public service and it is about giving back to the society. I want to work hand in hand with people of all backgrounds and all political viewpoints to find solutions. I worked as an engineer, I was an investment advisor. Before entering politics, I was an executive in a defense technology firm here. Importantly, I worked in various community organizations in Ottawa. I was on the board of Invest Ottawa, along with Mayor Jim Watson and other business and institutional leaders. I know what it takes to create high quality, high paying jobs for our youth and next generation. In Ottawa, federal government is the biggest employer, second is the city of Ottawa, the third is the technology sector, which has seen the ups and downs, the booms and busts of wireless and telecom. In this city, we need a stable alternative technology sector that can create high paying, high quality jobs. Our children are moving out of Ottawa. Our own son, our only son, once he finished his graduation, moved to Toronto. We need very stable sector here to create quality employment. I did look at various things before I entered politics. I liked what we have in the Liberal Party. We have a great leader, we have a great team, and we are ready to make Canada better. Thank you.
With his opening statements, please welcome from the Green Party, Jean-Luc Cooke.
Hello. Is this microphone on? There we go. Hello. It's a very light microphone. Like I was just introduced, my name is Jean-Luc Cooke. I am the Green Party candidate here in the riding of Nepean. This is my second election, and for the last 5 years, I've been the small business critic for the Green Party. So my responsibilities with that is to promote and help develop the small business platform for our national party. My background in small business and in engineering, I started my own business coming out of Cooke University. Made me a great fit for this job, and one of the reasons why I chose the Green Party is, well, first of all, I felt it was a party that needed improvement in the area of small business platform development, but also that my own background would help me come into this party and bring some good ideas. But most importantly is that it was the party that would accept me as I am, as a candidate who's willing to put his patriotism on his sleeve and run in his area and represent the constituents. And I'm very proud to be with a party that will let me be who I need to be for my candidates. And they've said point blank from the leader on down that Green Party candidates should always put their constituency's interests first, ahead of party whipping, which basically they said wouldn't exist. So, I put myself forward as a candidate of principle, as opposed to a candidate of convenience. Perhaps some of you have seen the other debates. I go forward, I put principled arguments out, and perhaps they aren't the most convenient for many people, but I hope those I do speak to and answer on phone calls and emails that they see that I'm coming from a position of principle and that I'm consistent in what I say. I don't read talking points from a binder because frankly I don't need to. I have a self-consistency within the things I say, and I stand by that. So, I grew up here in Nepean, just down the way, not here in Bellscorners. My wife and I only moved into Bellscorners about 10 years ago, and we have 2 kids. I have my company here. We're not really planning on leaving. There's no reason to. I think this is a great community and a great part of the city to live in. So I hope tonight, through the demonstration of myself and the other candidates, that you will find the best candidate out here in front of you, and you vote for them. Thank you very much.
Next, please welcome independent candidate Jesus Cosico. Jesus.
Greetings to my constituents in Nepean. I'm Jesus Cosico, originally from the Philippines. As an independent candidate by choice, I will not be beholden to any political party. my overriding goal is to dedicate myself to the citizens of Nepean. I bring to you a strong belief that more than ever, Canada needs independent voices in Parliament, willing and able to bring forth ideas and the courage to fight for them. Contrary to most beliefs, the independent voice is stronger than a partisan voice, if you know what I'm saying. In no instance will your voice, which will be represented by my voice, will be silenced by any party or its leader. That much I can guarantee you. So if there's something that you want me to take up to Parliament for legislation, of course, it's going to be heard. Nobody can silence me because I will be the independent voice. Like many of the residents here in Nepean, I too belong to the middle class. I feel the same anxieties brought about by financial and societal concerns. I'm also a federal employee. I share the same sentiments and the negatives impressed upon us. I'd be your best bet, best choice for strategic voting, if you know what I'm saying. As your independent representative, like I said, you're guaranteed that your voice will always be heard. I would like to end with a quote from Albert Einstein, who like me was called crazy for running as an independent. I'm in good company anyways. The world will not be destroyed by those that do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. Thank you.
Next, representing the NDP, please welcome Sean Devine. Sean.
Hello, everyone. So my grandfather was a farmer in Prince Edward Island. He was 6'4", but in many ways he was much taller a man than that. He was a very well-respected man in his community, and he was well-respected because he was a man who lived a lifetime of integrity. He didn't get his respect from a sudden accomplishment or from a quick flash of fortune. Now, there had been this story about my grandfather that he had once walked across the local lake and that he managed to do this while keeping his chin above water the entire time. Now, I don't actually believe that he did that. I've walked myself in this lake and I've sunk very quickly. And I believe that this was one of those rural legends, but it was a rural legend that came because of the kind of highly regarded man my grandfather was. Now, aside from being a farmer, aside from raising 7 kids of his own, my grandfather was a politician. He was a member of provincial parliament in Prince Edward Island. He's the only politician my family has yet to produce. And I have adored my grandfather for many things. That's one of the reasons why. Now, to let you know a little bit about me and less about my granddad. This is my first time running for political office. I'm a married man. I've got 3 kids. I come from very humble middle-class roots. My father's a house painter. My mother's a nurse. I have worked for the past 20 years in the non-profit community development sector, specifically to arts and culture. I've got a creative side. I'm a published professional writer, but I've also got a business and management side where I have founded and led several non-profit organizations very successfully. I've raised over $1 million for Canadian charities. I am a strong believer in responsible public spending, and I've got over 10 years with a solid financial statement to back that up. I'm running in this election for the NDP because I believe that what we all truly want is a progressive government. I think that what we all desire is a government that is based on hope and optimism, and not a government that is promoting fear and division. I think that what we want is a government that is transparent and accountable, a government that can collaborate with others in a non-partisan manner in order to serve our country, not to serve political objectives. I believe that what we want is a government based on integrity, Am I done?
15 seconds.
Here in Bellscorners, we need to build an economy that serves the middle class and those who want to get into middle class. We need to take much better care of our public service. You know, I'm going to talk about that in a second. I believe that the true test of the character of any individual, the true test of character of a society or a government is how well we look after our least fortunate, our most unfortunate, and I'll get into that in a second.
Thank you, Sean. From the Marxist Leninist Party, here's Tony C. Tony.
Thank you. I would like to begin by thanking the association for organizing this Some Candidates meeting. It's Some Candidates meeting, but to their credit, this is the first meeting that I have been invited to, and also the last. In other words, we have a practice in this country where many so-called democratic associations and organizations organize these forums, at which only 3 or 4 candidates are presented. And this is also the practice of the media. So in other words, what informed vote can you have when you have elections which are conducted on this basis? So I commend the democratic spirit with which this forum is organized. I would also suggest that it seriously consider that there should not be a time limit on discussion. This is the only forum for collective discussion amongst the people of this riding. Why should this discussion continue one night after the other? Only in this way can we have a forum where the people are empowered, where they can give their voice, where they can deliberate on the important issues of the day, where they can meet together and thrash these questions out, because there is so much disinformation cast on us on the important issues, whether foreign affairs, national affairs, or the economy. We could come at the end of this meeting and say, here are the important questions that are still must be discussed. Let us convene again on Wednesday night or on Friday night. By that time, the association will face the choice of having to book an even larger hall because more and more people come. So, for example, the question has come up, what would I do if I was NTP to represent and foster the voice of Nepean in the parliament? That's what I would do. I would take my salary above workers' wage and invest it in this process, where people make their decisions, like a People's Assembly, and then I would represent them, okay? So this is why we're participating in the election, to present that there is an alternative. We are 6 candidates in this region, 3 in Ottawa, 3 in Gatineau area. We're all workers and youth. Myself, I'm an independent journalist and publisher. I could say, yes, I have a successful company and so on and so forth. But more specifically, I
15 seconds, sir.
in the movement for independent media and was awarded Journalist of the Year in 2007. We turn our words into deeds. We're candidates of thought and action, and I look forward to carrying this discussion during the question and answers.
Thank you, Mr. C. Independent candidate Harry Splett. Harry.
Good evening, neighbors. Good to see you all out here. A little bit of my background. I was born out west in a little town that produced one of our governor generals. You probably remember Ed Schreier. My mother's family farm was just about a half mile down from the Schreiers. I'm an engineering technician in electronics, and as such I'm taught to fix problems, not create problems. You have my sheet that I've put out and some of my background here in the community. I started the first Property Owners Association in our Beeson Park. I'm running as an independent because I'm not happy with what the political parties are presenting. I've supported candidates with political parties, but I've become disillusioned with the party system. And I think we need to go back to the original democratic way of doing things, where you elect a member of parliament, And those members decide who is going to be the prime minister, like they decide who is the chair. And we need to go back to that model, because what we are proposing to other developing countries who have never had democracy, it doesn't work. The party system doesn't work at all. Fortunately, here we use ballots to change the party, and there, unfortunately, they're using bullets. Not a good scene. I worked in several different countries. Most of them were under some form of totalitarian rule at the time, but the Canadian government was sponsoring programs there, and I did aerial survey. I don't know much more I can say. I'm ready for your questions. I've outlined a number of ideas I have, but I stressed with everyone I spoke to that I want to hear from, if I become the Member of Parliament, I want to hear what you want me to do, not what I want to do. That's extremely important. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for our first of several questions this evening. The format remains the same in this instance. We'll start with Mr. Arya and then continue on down the line. And the next first question will go in alphabetical order. Again, these questions have come either from the floor here tonight or from emails or Facebook questions from residents in the area over the past few weeks. They are not my questions, nor the questions of the organizers of this event. So, here's our first question.
How much time to respond?
You have 1 minute to respond, so use your time wisely, gentlemen. Since this is like a job interview, we would like to ask a question that is asked at many job interviews. Maybe you've experienced this yourself. What do you see as your greatest weakness?
Well, that was an unexpected question. Maybe my weakness here is I live in a bilingual town and I don't know French. I did try to study French way back in 1987 when I was doing my university, when I was doing my MBA. I did join the French course, but never ended up learning French. But good thing happened there. I met my future wife, and we have been married for 24 years now. So my biggest problem is French. But to overcome that weakness, what I have planned is, what I have implemented is, most of my staff are bilingual, and that is going to continue. I think I may not be able to learn to be fluently bilingual, but I will have very good staff members to attend to every single requirement of Francophones and to provide services in both official languages.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So, what is my greatest weakness? Frankly, my weakness and my strength may, depending on your point of view, be the same thing. It's my political party. So, the Green Party is often squeezed into two camps. Number one, oh, you're a single issue party, you're only about the environment. So being the small business guy who, for the second election now, I never mention the environment, it gets a little grating. But most importantly, most severely, it's the fact that our electoral system, which was designed 150 years ago, designed for a country with only two political parties, is not designed for a political reality of four national parties that are running candidates in every election, and several other parties, including one presented here, that is running in some of, a fair number, frankly, of many of the other ridings. So voters are left in a situation of a dilemma. Do I vote for the best candidate? Do I vote for the person who will best represent me? Or do I vote against someone that I find less desirable? And I ask those to vote with your heart, because people, anyway, I'll have to end there.
Thank you, Mr. Cooke. Mr. Cosico.
Yeah, my greatest weakness, I would say my wife. Kidding aside, no. I hope she doesn't hear that. Anyways, I think it's more about, I would say, cultural. I have a very compassionate heart and a very, like, I rose from the ranks, having achieved a high level in government back home, and I have to start again all over when I became an immigrant and a citizen here in Canada. At any rate, I still have to have the guts to fire people. That's my greatest weakness. I cannot. I find other solutions to make maybe. I lived with the passage that I treat myself, I look at myself as a diamond cutter. That hitting the next hit would make a perfect cut. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cosico. Mr. Devine.
I would say that as somebody who's running to be a member of parliament and not necessarily running yet to be the next prime minister, I think that one of my greatest weaknesses is that I am a bit too opinionated and I've got an anti-authoritarian streak in me. And if anybody watched the Rogers debate the other day, you'll see that I've got a little bit of spirit and I can be feisty. I adore Thomas Mulcair. I love the NDP, but I know it's not a perfect party. I know that. There are things that I will enter into this contract with some questions in my mind. And I think that's fantastic in that I do want to be part of a political system where I don't have to just follow marching orders, where I can walk in and say, I appreciate what you want to do here, but I want to have a conversation about this. And I know that the NDP, as opposed to the current government, the NDP is a party about building consensus. The NDP is a party about welcoming other opinions. And I will certainly walk into that arrangement with some opinions that are different than my parties and that are different than my leaders. I might get fired. I might not be back here 4 years from now, but it's something I definitely stand up for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devine. Mr. C.
Well, on a personal basis, I'm a most self-critical person. But I would like to answer this question not on a personal basis, but on a social or political basis. The biggest weakness we have is that when we knock on doors, for example, over 100 people sign your nomination form, 3 out of 5 people will say, I agree with your platform. But will we vote for you? Because the massive pressure is exerted. You have to vote for the devil you don't know in order to defeat the devil you do know. And until this thinking is broken, the politics that we're presenting, which necessitate modern arrangements, a democratic
15 seconds.
will not make it advance. So I may know 1,000 people in this riding, but how many of those will actually on election day say, there is an alternative and I'm voting for that, and I'm not voting for Harper, and I'm not voting for the Liberals?
Thank you, Mr. C.
Repeat the question, please, Chandra.
What is your greatest weakness, Mr. Splett?
My greatest weakness is I didn't beat Ben Franklin for mayor. A couple of other people, but the upside of that is I didn't have to spend all those 100 hours in those stupid meetings and achieve nothing. Is that a good enough answer?
Our next question will be first answered by Mr. Jean-Luc Cooke, and here it is. You're all hoping to defeat the Conservative candidate, Mr. Andy Wang. However, many progressive voters are concerned that you will split the vote and the Conservative candidate will win. Several websites, in fact, have been created during this election which have told people how to vote in order to ensure the Conservative candidate is defeated in each riding. How do you address strategic voting, and will a vote for you or your party only ensure that the Conservatives will win in this ride? Mr. Cooke.
The discussion about strategic voting is interesting. When there was a Reform and a Progressive Conservative Party, many Canadians thought, oh, this splitting the vote stuff is no good, the parties have to merge. And now it's happening again, supposedly on the left or center, depending on where you stand, and say, oh, this is no good, they have to merge, they have to merge. Really, I'm worried about Andy Wang splitting the Harry Splett vote, and totally just messing up with our democracy. Of course, I'm being sarcastic, and it's to no disrespect to Mr. Splett at all. He's forgotten more about politics than I've ever learned. I consider it a misnomer because really, I want to beat all these people, and it's not because I don't like them. It's not because I don't agree with their policies. It's because I'm in this as a patriot, and I believe I'm the best candidate, and I don't want to paint it as me and all of us against the Conservatives, because the reality is we're all in this together. We're just trying to be the best person we can be.
Thank you, Mr. Cooke. Mr. Cosico.
And like I said earlier, I'm the best choice for the strategic voting. Whoever comes out the Prime Minister, your voice will still be heard. I will not be beholden to any party. I'm not splitting any vote. So again, I'm the best choice if you are doing strategic voting. It's funny because because our politics has just been too partisan, and now we're even ganging up on one. And I don't know what to say about that, but I guess it's a democratic process. You all have your own decisions to make, but again, if you want to beat the other guy,
15
don't
seconds.
split it, just consolidate it with me, and we will beat him. The PM won't make or unmake the Prime Minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cosico. Mr. Devine.
Thank you, sir. I'm a huge fan of democracy. And the least inspiring thing I know about in democracy is the term strategic voting. There's nothing inspiring about it whatsoever. I don't want to be disrespectful to any conservative supporters who might be here, but most of us in this room know that over the past 10 years, we have become a country that we were not meant to be. We have become a country that we're not supposed to be. And I'm very concerned that with strategic voting, we are going forward. You know what, we're not going forward. We're looking over our shoulders. We're voting in order to avoid something. We're voting in order to prevent something from happening. We're not voting based on what we hope for. We're not voting based on what we want or what we dream about. And in that sense, we have become something that we are not supposed to be.
50.
And unless we vote in a way that is with our hearts and with our souls and with our principles, we cannot define who we have to be. We cannot get back to being who we are should be. We're voting based on what we're afraid of. Mr. Harper has done a darn good job of making us afraid, and I will not vote out of fear. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devine. Mr. C.
In January of this year, we gave the slogan, "Defeat Harper in 2000."